All right, well, hopefully this should be recording. First off, we will discuss maximizing discussion and chapter question points. The main issue is always provide more than the minimum, a little bit more than what it asks for. When you do, you'll be assured of richly developing the topic and asking penetrating and thought-provoking questions. And when you do that, your performance and your scores will increase. Use these criteria, analyze things, evaluate them, and then if you can, synthesize something new. That will help develop the topic. It will help you learn. It will also strengthen everything else that the rest of the course team can take away from the course. So you're helping each other. Support higher level learning. We'll talk briefly about shadow IT. Everybody goes, oh, shadow IT, shadow IT. So what is it? Really, it's just when people do their own thing instead of relying on their centralized IT department. Bring your own device can really, really create some serious problems here, bringing your own device. Because when you do, what happens to quality? Quality, unmeasurable. What happens to security? Almost impossible to obtain. And just what do you think happens if a person uses their personal devices for business purposes and they carry their personal device out? All of that business information goes out. Bad idea. Okay, so please do not think about really strongly before you start running to your own device for programs and applications. Also, when you do your final presentation, you're supposed to have audio and video. Please have audio and video. Test it, audio and video. And a lot of students go, well, I can use a PowerPoint and it will let me add audio. Not necessarily. The Blackboard has a problem with PowerPoints with audio. That does not work. So please, I really recommend using some of those screen capture utilities here. The Screencast-O-Matic, the Prezi, the Powtoons. And if you use Prezi, do a Prezi with the voiceover so you have the audio. Okay? And if you go down to these other places, you'll see that you can submit links and you have the opportunity to practice. You have 5 weeks to practice using whichever device and whichever software set you're most interested in. Okay? Now, talk very briefly about the Internet of Things. Imagine everything you wear being interconnected with everything in your house or your refrigerator. I mean, think about it. Your refrigerator could decide that you're low on butter, and so it will automatically order butter. Wow. Okay. And you're on an airplane. There have been instances of airplanes landing because of a engine stress that the pilot did not even know about. The airplane said, time to go down. We have a problem. So down they went. All right. And so that type of information, that Internet of Things type of information, helps make life more integrated, right? We're talking about integrated. So we have cell phones, we have constant communication. Good ideas. But think about this. This self-driving car, I'm sure you've read about some self-driving car. There's a car, and I think it's in either Arizona or Nevada, I think, that actually the car has its own driver's license. Wow, imagine that. But here's the deal. Imagine all of those cars driving around linked to each other, linked to the highway, linked to the highway conditions. I mean, you already know, why do you have to parallel park? You do not. You just stop and you say, park, car, and the car parks itself, right? Well, imagine that same condition for reporting potholes, for reporting accidents, being constantly aware of ambient temperatures and conditions of anything on the road. Nice way to go, right? Okay. So that's part of that Internet of Things. And you're also, this week we discussed some things on wearable technologies, and that's the same thing. I mean, how would you like the shoes that you're wearing to tell you that they're worn out and need replacing? Imagine that. Okay. So Internet of Things, very briefly. Final topic here, artificial intelligence. And this is from this Hope Reese, Miss Hope Reese, which is a staff writer at Tech Republic. We were talking about artificial intelligence because also this week we were talking about processes, right? Automated processes. And I made a comment in one thread about an executive that I know that was complaining because there was a he called it robo instead of robot. It was a robot salesperson. Literally, that people, and not a real person, but you could pick up your handheld device, you turn it on, and now all of a sudden you're communicating with this salesperson that is a robot salesperson. And so one expert there sitting with another expert in their hand, and the next thing you know, you're very well convinced that what they're trying to tell you is the absolute best thing that's out there. Must be so, came out of a computer, right? Not necessarily, but that artificial intelligence is when you start assembling expert systems and you say, well, so what do we expect to get out of it? Well, what we expect to get out of it, quite obviously, is to lessen the amount of work that people have to do. Like we talked about decision support systems, right? Well, instead of having people sitting in a room discussing something to agree on what to do, this little manager picks up their handheld device that's linked into, or their cell phone, it's linked into the DSS for the whole organization, and there's a decision. There's all the information they need right there. And what is one step further goes from there's all the information they need to there's the decision. So when we start talking about decision support systems, we automatically advance into artificial intelligence. And I read an article yesterday that MIT, I think, succeeded in creating an artificial intelligence that is as smart as a 4-year-old. Okay. Okay. And then one of my responses this week was to a student about quantum computing. And the minute that quantum computing starts at a practical level, you will see literally a 3 or 4, 10 magnitude improvement in performances, in speed, in capabilities, and that is when artificial intelligence are really going to take off. As a matter of fact, a lot of the governments in the world now are chasing quantum computing just like they used to chase building to have the first atomic bomb. They are chasing the dream of having the first practical quantum computer. But here's the deal for artificial intelligence. Explore them, because do you want to be controlled or do you want to control? You meaning you as a society, you as a person, you as an individual, as a family member. How do you want to see technology? How do you want to see it used? That's it for this week. I'll see you guys next week. We have some really, really great demonstrations coming up next week. Let's see if we can turn things off now.